Dr. Diana Driscoll at POTS Care. I wanted to reach out to those of you who are dealing with POTS or loved ones who are dealing with POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. It can be such a beast of a condition. I heard something this week that just horrified me, and that was there is no cure for POTS. In fact, one of our staff members met someone who said, "Oh, you work for the doctor who thinks there's a cure for POTS." That's wrong. There is no cure. Oh, that's horrible. I say it's horrible for so many reasons. One, POTS is not a disease. We cure diseases, right? POTS is a presentation. It's a presentation of a fast heart rate when a patient gets vertical. There's a reason for presentations to occur, and that needs to be figured out. We don't cure those, we cure diseases. POTS is not a disease. Plus, that's just blatantly wrong. I don't have POTS. I was disabled by that for 10 years. My kids don't have POTS. We manage what drove us to POTS so extraordinarily well. We're not ill, nor do we plan to be sick, okay? So I think everyone needs to be able to have recognized what the underlying problem is resulting in POTS. And no one should have to deal with the lack of validation that we have to deal with as patients with the label of POTS. I think it's so insufficient to describe the suffering that we can endure. I know in my condition, it wasn't subtle. It wasn't like I could just push past, and I tried to for a long time. And traditional treatment was getting me nowhere. I was just getting worse. So it was so much more than, oh, you need to change your diet or get exercise or control stress. It wasn't a psychiatric condition. I mean, ultimately, there were certainly psych symptoms, but those were all secondary to the underlying problem. So what's interesting is that now a lot of patients are developing POTS from COVID. We expected that. I know I was a post-viral patient. My son was post-viral. So viruses got us to start with, and I remember telling the doctors, could we figure out what that virus did to us and maybe undo it and go back to health? I didn't know why that seemed like such a foreign concept at the time, but being told that I would have always had to deal with POTS, I think it's just horrifying. No one should be told that. So the underlying problems need to be addressed, and I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of inflammatory POTS. It's one that fortunately has been kind of coming to light more with COVID. That's actually helped us. We see a lot of inflammatory POTS, and that's inflammation somewhere, need to determine where that is, but inflammation driving a cardiovascular response that displays in one way as POTS. There is a lot more that it causes, though, and that has to be peeled back. So, inflammatory POTS, I think, is so important, and COVID is actually helping explain that. But at POTS Care, we see a fair amount of that. You can find me again at potscare.com. And I also have just released something called a POTS Care Package, potscarepackage.com. We'll get into that at fairly great length with you, too. Let's get through this, okay? But do know, if someone says there is no cure for POTS, that's wrong. If your doctor tells you you just have to live with POTS, I would suggest perhaps you're seeing the wrong doctor. So I wish you all the very best in your recovery journey. Let me know if I can help. Gentle hugs to you.